Welcome to BamBam-O-Rama.
Welcome to BamBam-O-Rama. We got the schmeats.
We got the schmeats.
Speaking of sober, we had a pretty sober weekend in Vegas this weekend.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was a lot of fun. I was also wondering how I was going to handle being in rooms that constantly smell like cigarette smoke.
Yeah.
But I think there would be once or twice I'd pass by someone smoking and be like, that smells good. I could just ask for one. But we also had to get somewhere. Half the time we were running to an Uber pickup spot located in some place that's really hard to find. So thankful to Uber for helping prevent me from bumming a smoke off some people.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been good.
I mean, I probably would have been fine. It's just like those few times that I've had occasional cigarettes since I don't smoke anymore. Like the next morning I wake up and I'm like, why did I do this to myself? You know.
One thing that was pretty tempting was the chocolate cake from that vending machine.
Dude, motherfucker, I was going to buy it and you were like, no, I don't want it.
Yeah, because it is Carlos. And I watched that show so much. I don't want my first Carlos experience to be the vending machine from Vegas.
Why not?
I want it to be the real stuff when I get to go there.
I mean, I don't understand why a Vegas cake experience is not something to be talked about.
Well, we're talking about it.
We're talking about how it didn't happen.
Right. Because I want the real deal.
I mean, I do too. I always want the real deal.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to cheapen it by having the inferior product before.
So you wouldn't go to like a Bobby Flay restaurant or an Emerald restaurant? I'm using those examples. I understand there's much more famous and better chefs out there. But I mean, I don't know.
Just
maybe
they're not cooking there all the time type thing. And I understand. So no, the answer is yes, I would go to those because I'm not as invested in those individuals as I am in the Carlos Bakery.
Okay. And you said Carlos was Cake Boss, right? Which one was Cake Boss? Was Cake Based? I think Ice of Cakes was what I watched all the time.
So the guy's name is Buddy, and if he looks like a cartoon of an Italian man.
Nice.
He's the perfect. They're the perfect Italian looking family to me. Like if you want a stereotypical, and I'm not meaning this in any derogatory mean, but like if you picture it, this is them, and they look to the T. They're. I'm not even saying like they're the best looking people in the world, but they're not terrible looking people. I'm not saying that either.
Right.
It's just perfect, and then they're all running around doing not over the top zany. Not under this, they're playing some fun pranks. Like one time they throw like, water balloon and flour on some guy, fun stuff you would expect in a family type bakery. Like they're having fun while they're baking, which is a fun thing to do anyway. Everyone's happy. Everyone's kind of fat, and if you're not, you're kind of buff because you're Italian and you got all this tradition that you can just feel it through the camera. Like whoever was doing this too did a great job putting this on camera, the way they captured it, whether it was forced or not, I don't care. Whoever did the whole thing, the big circle of Cake Boss is enjoyable to me so much that if I want it, I'm going bigger. I'm going home.
Nice. Okay. So what was the shtick for Cake Boss? Was it like Ace of Cakes made the big fancy cakes that shouldn't have been cakes?
They actually did a competition show later, didn't they?
I'm not sure. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I think later they did Cake Boss versus
Ace. I'm sure they did.
Yeah, versus
I
Duff.
wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if it was just a reality show, Duff. If there was a thing to it.
Yeah, because he kind of did the same thing. It was bigger cakes, Yeah. He could do custom cakes, and then of course they've got their traditional. Everyone goes there for this. Everyone goes there for that. The locals.
Oh, you gotta have their Italian cream or
right.
Whatever. All right. So, and where is Cake Boss's bakery? New York, New Jersey.
Hoboken, New Jersey. What did I say? Hoboken,
New Jersey.
Yeah, Hoboken, New Jersey.
But that is where you could
get it for real.
Service New York, right?
Right. I mean, you can even get it delivered to the greater area, I believe. Through a service. It's not. I don't think it's theirs, but arguably you're beating the line.
All right.
You're paying $70 for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, Cake Boss lasted 13 seasons. That's a lot.
That is a lot. Oh, I forgot what I was going to ask. Never mind.
I know they have a break-off, and this is where I would make the exception, is the break-off location I'd be okay with because it's up there. and they're freshly making it there. You know what I mean?
What
It's
is
not
that?
a little, just a separate location, satellite location.
Where is?
Oh, where is that? What you said? Sorry.
That's what I meant to ask.
Well, there's actually a few in that greater area. Oh, it's in Times Square. Is the one that's right next to it.
Oh, okay.
Hoboken's the one I really want to go to, though.
Look out, Hoboken, New Jersey. We're coming for you. We're gonna eat yo cake.
What's a place like that? Like, do you have a specific food place that you would not settle? You got to go to the original.
I don't know. It depends. I mean, I get that sentiment. It was really weird when I was in Leander eating at Round Rock Donuts, mainly because it was in a different city and it's named after the city it was made in.
I wasn't that impressed with Round Rock Donuts though. Like, they're good.
Yeah.
But is it waiting that line that good?
There was no line in Leander.
Well, I know.
I don't think anything is waiting that line good. I think
I'm pretty sure I'm agreeing with you on that.
yeah, like when people who lined up for 6 hours to eat at Franklin's, whether that's the best barbecue in Texas or the United States or not, you're not going to convince me that it's worth waiting in line for 6 hours for.
Right.
I'm not saying I wouldn't do it if I had 6 hours to kill. I would love to try Franklin's and see what it's like. But yeah, I don't think anything. I think honestly, if you're waiting more than 45 minutes for food, then
I think I'd try to hope that someday I could afford to pay someone to wait for us. Like, it's just the 3 people, like them included. We're paying for yours, of course. Get whatever the fuck you want. Here's the card, and then my order and your order. Because that way we're not putting everyone else out, like we're not ordering for 12 people. I'm not going to be that dick type thing either. Even with call ahead and all that service, I don't want to be those people. You know what I'm saying? Like 3 or 4 people modestly.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Just someone that's more willing to wait in line.
Right.
And then we go do other stuff in that 6 hours.
And I'm not hating on anybody if food is that important to them that they think waiting in line for 6 hours is definitely worth it. It's just a different view of time. That's all it is. I honestly, and I love theme parks. I go to theme parks. I wait in line for rides all the time. Not gonna lie, as much as happy as I was that I got to ride Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, the fact that it took me nearly 2 hours in line, I fucking hated that. You don't know how many times I was like, nothing's gonna be worth this wait. It was a wonderful ride, best ride I've ever been on. Was it worth 2 hours? Essentially, no. But that is what you're doing when you're at a theme park. Yeah. You're waiting in line to have fun on a ride for.
Well, getting back to Vegas, we got to wait, and you even said it. Hey, what'd you guys do in Vegas?
We waited in line.
Waited in line.
I know
What would you do before we waited in line? Well, we walked around this building for an hour.
Right. That was the worst. Getting at the hotel at 2 a.m. and not being able to get into our room till 4:30.
I forgot about that. See,
That
that's
was-
what PTSD is. You forget about things, and then later it's like, we got to get to the hotel because it's going to be a line.
Right? Ugh.
Yeah, 4-hour line. It literally was.
Yeah. There was no other check-in lines that long any other time we walked by that desk either. Granted, we didn't walk by at 2:30 in the morning either because we were asleep.
That's true. But still.
I learned how to play roulette or how to bet on roulette.
Yeah.
It was fun. I was up and I should have walked away. I was up by like $50.
Yeah.
And then I
You're up 50.
immediately lost it all.
That's why it's fun to just dance around some of the even things.
Yeah.
Because those stats will always be even. Whether it's leaning 51 and 49% or 48 and 52%, they're still really even on how often they land. That's just the nature. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so you're that's to me the fun of gambling. It's like a
right?
Versus those serious people, and that's the people that would be yelling, who probably get a lot more out of gambling, money wise and satisfaction than I. But yeah.
Right. I mean, I personally, for me, learning how to play roulette, was fun. I enjoyed that. I don't think I would have hated myself. I lost $100. I took like $200 with the expectation that I'm gambling with this, and I could either come back with more. I could also come back with none of this $200. So the fact that I only lost 100, I feel like it was a win.
Yeah, and you had fun doing it. Like I saw you. Like, it was a great time. We the guy was real chill.
Yeah, he was cool. He was a cool teacher. And I go, dealer?
I don't know what they call him in that, but we'll stick with that.
We'll say dealer. He dealt me roulette. So we went to the MGM Grand so that we could go to. Well, the whole trip was based around me dragging you to another wrestling event.
Right.
So, but before we get into that wrestling event, let's talk about FanFest and our experience at MGM.
Oh, okay.
Where we.
So first off, we get a cab to MGM because that's where this FanFest is in their little event center.
Yeah.
And they drop us off at the typical MGM spot, even though the event center is like, even on the map, it says it's like a mile that way, really.
Dude, it was ridiculous. We had to walk all the way through the entire, which was ridiculous. I don't understand why MGM designed it that way. I guess so that you see what the MGM has, and I can stop and play this slot for 5 minutes while I'm trying to get to the event center. I can throw $50 down here at blackjack real fast. I guess it's there's reasons for that, right? Oh, look at all these restaurants you can eat at after you're done at the event center.
And we did marvel, if you will, at everything. Like, ooh, look at this and look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Tried to find that sports room a bit. So yeah, I mean, it kind of worked. But then we get to the event, which was pretty cool to start off.
It was all right. I mean, I think
there was some guys on a panel kind of BSing, not really chatting about anything specifically.
Yeah, they're kind of goofing around. It was, I'm trying to remember who all it was. I know it was Evil Uno. So there was a wrestler, and then there was a couple. I think there was a manager.
Adam Cole.
Adam Cole was hilarious. That was
right. He was on that panel.
He wasn't on that first panel we saw. He was on the second panel
later,
when we came back. Yeah.
Who else was it then?
I don't remember who was on that first panel.
Anyway, they were kind of BSing. That's why we didn't really even watch them to remember who was up there. The lines were really all just to meet and greets. That.
Well, yeah, like I've said, you don't think you're gonna what?
Oh, I'm not ever even interested in like my Returns and I had gone to Atlanta Comic-Con a few years ago.
Right.
And I could have met I could have met and Gret. I could have done meet and greets with a few Star Trek people, and I skipped it because it doesn't make sense to me. Like I get a photo, they shake my hands, and I touch them, you know?
Yeah. I think I'm with you. I feel like the planned meet and greet thing it's just such a non-organic thing to do. And I'm not super into non-organic meetings of people.
Yeah, I'm not wired to do that.
But yeah. So yeah, it was mostly there for the meet and greets. There were some spots where you could take pictures. Like they had a ring set up with all the different copies of all the different AEW belts. They had a pretty badass little diorama. Is that what you would call that? A little setup of all the action figures. I thought that was cool as shit.
With some of their rings that they make and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just like any fest, there's people trying to sell, stuff, and some of that stuff was time. And that's fine. It was fun. It was cool. The cooler part was coming back later when they're, Brody the Kid was there.
Yeah.
They were playing, and Adam Cole was playing
the
AEW video game.
Yeah. Fight Forever. Which looks like, I don't know if you ever played it back in the day. Did you ever play? There was 4 video games on Nintendo 64. 2 of them were WCW, 2 of them were WWE, but they used what looks to be the same engine that this video game's on. So it's kind of taken things back a few steps, but honestly, it looked like it was still a fun ass game to play. And I think honestly, when I play WWE 2K23, is that the one we have? It's right there in front of me. Yeah, 2K23. I missed that old engine from the 90s, early 2000s. I thought it was a lot easier to play. Yeah. It was easier to play. You grapple the guy, you do a move. Love it. But yeah, I think it's the same gameplay, so I'm excited about it. But it was, watching Adam Cole, it was hilarious. Him and Brody.
Yeah.
That was so funny. So FanFest was all right. I also did actually get to have an organic meeting with two YouTubers that I really enjoy. So that was fun. I got to run into Simon Miller, other parts of the What Culture wrestling group from the United Kingdom.
Hell yeah.
It was exciting. They said they were trying to sneak into a wrestling event, and I was like, how did you guys not buy tickets to this?
Probably pinching every penny they can.
That's true.
Self-funding a lot of that.
That's true, because I mean,
At first, at least,
I know they get a paycheck from woke culture, but I don't know how big that paycheck is
or what's included with
or
it,
what's
right?
included with it. Yeah, like they could have been like, "Hey, we're sending you to Vegas to, go review your wrestling show live," and they're like, "Cool. So what else are you getting us? You're going to Vegas."
Yeah. Like, what hotel did you put us in? The Rio, the MGM, the Motel 6.
The Motel 6.
Ah,
Yeah.
shit.
Oh, fuck.
And what about our Uber services? You're walking.
You're walking or
Yeah.
you're paying for that.
Yeah, so they're doing fine, but not everything they want in Vegas fine.
Right. Getting the bare minimum. I mean, I wouldn't be upset if they're like, "You're going to Vegas to do this, and we put you up at the Motel 6. I'd be like, "Cool."
Listen, there's hundreds of things that you can do for free in Vegas.
That's true.
You can literally go watch Soulja Boy for free. Or who did we miss?
We missed Smash Mouth.
Smash
and
Mouth. Yeah,
Marcy
that's right.
Playground. There was someone in between there, and I forgot who that is.
Yeah, they were doing they're doing free concerts every
Yeah.
month is what we're talking
On
about.
Fremont
That's pretty
Street.
neat.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. But then I think the best part about FanFest was when we decided we needed a break from FanFest and we wanted to go walk around the strip, and we walked out a door that we thought was going to take us to the strip.
And then we found 2 hookers that gave us the twofer for $50.
Yep.
Great.
It would have been way better if that's what happened.
That didn't happen.
No, we discovered that was just the entrance to a private pool or an Uber pickup, maybe. And we had neither of those things. And so we tried to turn around and go back in, and the doors were locked because it was a no re-entry door. And we had to walk around the entire fucking MGM Grand to get back to the front door on the strip.
Yeah, all the doors we tried were they wouldn't let us back in through they were non-re-entry doors or staff doors.
The best was when we discovered later that when we looked down a hallway and we said, "There's doors over there, but I don't even want to try it," that those were open.
I might cut that.
Nah, leave that in there. It's funny.
I'm just kidding.
But yeah, walking around the MGM. I mean, it was kind of, for a second, it was kind of cool because they're like, "Oh yeah, Vegas is a real town. There's some apartments right there. Isn't that?" Because you forget. I feel like Vegas, it's very easy to forget that that's a city and not just a strip in a downtown area full of casinos and weird shows. Because I know every time I think about, like, when I have friends who are like, I lived in Vegas for 5 years, and I'm like, immediately I'm like, "Oh, they just hung out in casinos for 5 years." No. Or I used to think that. So it was kind of cool to remind ourselves that. And then we got on that fucking roller coaster.
Yeah. I almost threw up after that thing. It was great.
Yeah,
but the last two loops were a little like a toilet bowl type thing where it went down and real tight right after each other. And man, I started sweating so bad. I couldn't help it. There's nothing I could have done. I went to the bathroom for a minute. Yeah. It almost did me under.
I'm sorry, dude.
No, it's just funny.
I thought it was a great coaster. I enjoyed it.
It was great. Yeah, I really did enjoy it.
It just shook up your nerves.
Like I said, yeah, something in my body went my equilibrium or whatever said.
I won't lie, until that whole first climb was getting my fear of heights button, and I was like, "Oh no, what are we doing?" I was like, I can see way too much of this city right now. And then I was like, "No, just be cool. Just appreciate the view, because you can do that still." But then it was just going back and forth between you're too high and nah, just chill and look.
Yeah,
And like,
it was fun though. It was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
My favorite part of Vegas was, I'm not gonna lie, the prop store.
The prop store was so fucking cool. The museum. The prop museum.
Yeah, yes.
It was
store
both.
And museum.
It was store and museum. You're right.
Because they do sell some props and prop replicas.
Yeah.
So like lightsabers and stuff like that.
So when it comes to that, like, because some of those replicas, and I'd have to go through my pictures to remember half the shit we saw in there. But some of those replicas were pricey. Like there was $4,000 replicas.
Yeah.
Would you at that point? Because like, and I mean, I have like replica lightsabers and stuff like that, but I don't. I also there's the hot sauce I was looking for last night. I had dinner last night and I was eating chicken and I was like, I really want my hot sauce, and I couldn't find it, and it's right there.
Just finish what you were saying.
But like, yeah, I have replica lightsabers that you spend like $200 on, and I'm like, I think that's a good price for something that's kind of a toy that you can play with, and it's also a display thing. When it comes to like those replicas though, that were supposed to be very much emulations of what was on the movies, and they're like $4,000. Would you buy a replica for $4,000?
Of what?
Whatever it was. I mean, we saw a few of them.
Oh, of just anything? Would I ever purchase
Let's
any
say it was
for that much?
Let's say it was a phaser replica that was $4,000.
$4,000? No, never.
Movie prop.
Depends.
Depends.
Depends on what it is. Maybe one of those Starship Trooper bugs. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe $4,000. They're pretty big.
Yeah.
In my brain, I could justify their size. Also helps, like, not just how cool it is, but it's a larger figure. I could put that in, like, straight up in my living room.
I could get that. The size of the figure matters.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, ladies.
And I would
Size
put
does
it in
matter.
I'd put up. Yeah, you better have a big old pussy. I put it up in the corner. I want to fit my big old head in there. But like put it up in the corner of the living room, that'd be pretty tight.
Be cool, yeah.
Get like a professional, somebody that makes that kind of stuff. Somebody that makes models.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know what the word is. I'm sure there's some kind of ometer for it.
Get a beep boo.
I'm
gonna get a beep boo for that.
Yeah. I think that'd be cool. Yeah, there's.
That's my positive slang term for those kinds of people.
I'm with you on that. I always do dream of having like some kind of actual movie prop because, like I said, I have replica stuff, and then I have like the fancy toys that Marvel sells, like the Legends series, I think.
Yeah.
Which are kind of meant. They're toys you can play with, but they're more meant to be displayed, But also at the same time, when you see your son running around with it, you're not like, oh my God. You're just like, okay, make sure you put that back and don't break it.
Yeah.
Because if it was an actual, like if I had the actual gauntlet from Infinity War, which I don't think there was, it was just CGI'd, wasn't it? But let's say it was a real prop. Yeah, like no one's fucking touching that. Not in my house.
Yeah. And that's probably why I would personally say now that just stick away from things that people can wear. Just don't get props that people want to pick up. Sorry, I would love to have one of those Starship Trooper foam rifles for $30, $100.
Yeah,
but
someone's gonna pick that up.
People handling it all the time. Someone's gonna hit someone with it, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
it's just a waste of money in the end.
You know what's crazy to me is like you do have friends that come over and look at your collection of stuff and they're like, "Oh wow, this is so cool." And they pick it like I'm like, "It's a collection of something. Why wouldn't you like ask permission before you just put your fingers on it?"
If it's open and it's on the top of a shelf.
I mean, in my house, it's one thing. I understand. I know some people are particular, and I'm sorry I cut you off. You were saying something.
I don't remember what I was
okay.
saying.
But the prop store was fucking cool, and I like the toy
prop store was fun.
I like the toy store next to it. I saw a few toys I wanted to buy, but I didn't because I was like, I also don't want to have to deal with getting that home through TSA. Not that TSA was going to confiscate it, but well, no, I guess luggage handlers just don't treat your luggage the best, so I didn't want to have to deal with that.
It's a need for speed situation, folks. You want to get in that plane and get in the air. You think it just happens immediately? No.
Nope.
They're down there kicking your bags. It needs to be done.
Yep. So
accordingly.
So I want to bug you. What did you?
And now for our sponsor, boxes made by.
So
what were you gonna say?
What did you think about the AEW pay-per-view compared to the WWE pay-per-view? Since I've dragged you to two events.
Out of the water.
I think so too.
I think that that being said, they're both pay-per-view type. What do they call it now?
So, well,
just say what it's called.
WWE is calling it.
Just say what it's called.
A premium live event.
Thank you. A premium live event. Thank you. We've already heard the story. Thank you. Premium live events. And so if they're the same caliber, like if they're costing the same for the public, WWE has no right doing that.
Right.
They should be half the cost. If that's what's going on. That's what I'm going to tell you right now. As a first timer to both, I'm just saying it. But objectively, just the show that was presented to me with talking about, the show must go on type of mentality and how things in both shows didn't go perfect, which you expect, and that's fine.
Right.
It's cool. But the way that WWE quote unquote recovered versus AEW is unparalleled. AEW had that shit on lock.
Dude, I agree.
WWE did, like, they were just like people kind of like looking around at each other. It almost felt like how little was going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Also, performance wise, I just got to give it to the AEW people. I know you can't really it kind of becomes an apples to oranges things, even though
Right.
they're both professional wrestlings. It's two different owners. That's like comparing HEB to Walmart. Yes, of course, Texas people are going to say you're going to have a clear winner. However, Walmart's got a lot more money. Who's really winning, et
Right.
cetera, et cetera. And we're not even going to get into that. I'm just saying the argument goes on.
Oh yeah.
But what I am saying is that as again, a newbie, a potential fan, right? When you're talking about trying to get customers in, AEW is doing a better job.
That's awesome. I love hearing that, because I personally do think it goes back and forth between months and weeks, or at least it has for the past 2 years for me, on which program I like better. But I think like 2 years ago when AEW first dropped, I was all about AEW, because AEW was definitely giving the fans what they wanted. And
Sure.
WWE was kind of like, well, we're giving the fans what we want to give them.
And I get that, because that's like how it's been, right? That's what they always did.
Yeah.
So why are we changing that? That doesn't make sense.
Right.
Just like a lot of businesses that are going to be finding, because they're not forcing this younger generation to work, and now they're quote unquote lazy generation who's still succeeding and surviving and thriving actually without their jobs.
Yep.
And they can't find work because nobody wants to work. No, they just don't want to work for you. And they're finding better work, and it's actually way easier and pays a lot more.
Yeah.
I think those are the people, and that's what it is. You're just finding a generational gap because they're not adapting to the reality of what's changed.
I think that's fair to say. So what was your
that's life.
That is life. So what was your favorite match or moment, or
The 4 Pillars match?
the 4 Pillars match was sick.
Yeah, it's got Jungle Boy Perry, which is Luke Perry's son.
Yep.
It had I know MJF.
You also had Sammy Guevara.
Oh, I was trying to remember them all.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'll let you see if you can get that last one.
Is it Calypso? Shit.
Yep. Calypso was during the Battle Royale, I believe. Is that no Command?
I know this guy has like the half skull face.
Right.
He had this jumpsuit because he was trying to be Elvis. It was kind of silly.
Yeah.
He was a really silly guy, and that's why I liked him, because he was silly. But then he was probably Jungle Boy's pretty acrobatic.
Yeah,
they're all pretty acrobatic.
They were all, honestly.
Even MJF showed some good moves on that one.
Yeah. So his name is Darby Allin. The other one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. MJF was cracking me up when he.
Yeah, he was pretty funny, dude.
The shit he would say in between, like when I was about to hit him, he's like, "No, wait!" Like, oh, it's so funny.
When they all ended up where they were all pinning each other, not only was it what everybody wanted,
oh yeah,
but the way they drug it out performance-wise, the each setup to the next one getting in there, then the next one, and then even MJF's clearly fake, like slip and fall into it, but the way he hit every move that man made on that stage was perfect. It looked like a movie. Like if you were filming that for a movie, one take.
That's what I gotta say. I've told you in the past few months, MJF is my favorite wrestler right now.
Right.
It's because all the shit he says on the mic, his job is a heel, and he has the crowd wrapped around him 90% of the time. They fucking hate him. And I sit there and I just laugh because I'm like, he's fucking doing his job. And amazingly, and then he wrestles. He also doesn't wrestle very often. This is the first match he's wrestled. He's wrestled 3 matches this year.
Sure.
And that's just part of his shtick. He's the bad guy. He doesn't want to, as little as he can do, Yeah. So I get to forget every time how good he is. Because you're right. Like, I was watching that. I was like, if I didn't know that wrestling was, I don't want to say fake, but staged. If MJF was the only wrestler I watched, not knowing it was staged, I would believe that I saw. I would believe everything I saw.
Like, no, dude, he really fell. I saw it.
Yeah. Like, he's so good at it, and
really good.
He's in his 20s. It's amazing. Because a lot of guys don't get that until they're older.
Yeah, they were absolutely incredible. If only that fight had happened, probably would have still been sold on the whole thing versus WWE.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, all around it was just a really good time.
It was a lot of fun, and we had, I think we had a lot more
Several
fun.
moments of fights in front of us too.
Oh yeah, dude, we were right there because we
You
were right
got
there
some good
front row.
photos.
I got a really good photo of John Moxley and Kenny Omega.
You could Jack could have touched Kenny Omega while he was taking the photo, like
Yeah,
simultaneously. I'm not saying like he was that close. I'm saying he was so close while taking the photo. He could have also used his other hand and gone boop
yep.
and
Oh,
touched him.
I totally
They
could
let
have.
him that close while he took the photo. Like I swear,
It was amazing. It was
leaning in.
It was a lot of fun being that close to the action. And getting to see Kenny Omega, because like I've told you before, I think Kenny Omega is the best wrestler in the world. Like, to get to see him, it's one thing to get to meet someone you look up to. I got to see him wrestle. Not even just like, not only was I in the same room with him, he was literally doing his thing less than, like, I could have touched him while he was doing it. And I was like, this is
Right.
amazing. Like,
Yeah.
it was.
It wasn't just him. It wasn't just them. Like even MJF came out. Like they had tackled him out.
Oh yeah, that was good too.
Yeah, there was a few moments like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, but I do hold on to that Kenny Omega being right there a few times, especially because when the dude next to us held out his popcorn, Kenny Omega was like, "Fuck it!" Like you could even see it. He looked at it and he was like, "Yeah." Like
I regret not trying to show that guy our QR code.
I
When
do
said
too.
That, but a lot of that's because I do have some social issues where I can't talk to a lot of strangers. Believe it or not, I know a lot of people would not believe that, having known me,
Right.
how outgoing I can be. But I was having some time where I was just like, I can't deal with this guy. Like,
Oh yeah,
so I was trying to be nice.
he was a lot. He was definitely better than the people we sat next to at WWE.
Yeah, those guys were. I could have punched that guy if I really
Yeah,
had the chance.
for real.
But anyway, so this guy, I was just like, but in that moment, I was like, yeah! And I started patting him on his back.
Dude, I know. I turned around and looked at you, and you were like the most excited I think I saw you this whole trip. I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
Because he took this guy's popcorn. The guy's been like holding it, like,
Yeah, he was like, "Here, take
and
my."
they finally took it, and it was like, and everyone is excited.
Yeah,
it was just,
it was so good. That was one of the
That was
best.
so much fun.
My friend, like I said, that was also at the same event. She was telling me, you know, you get on there, you read reviews, or you the Facebook pages you follow, and there's always haters and trolls. And some people, like people all over, were like, that was the worst event AEW's ever put on, worst wrestling event I've ever seen. Someone was saying the crowd was dead, which there are moments I can agree the crowd was dead, but I think overall, I've been to 4 pay-per-view or premium live events, whichever one you want to call them, tapings. That was the best atmosphere I've ever been in.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I think that the people that are complaining were the ones that wanted to run the stage.
Yeah.
And the security was being really weird because, to be honest, even though those photos and stuff that, because we were up very front, got to benefit from, it did restrict some people, but it was restrictions that you would have had anyway.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't have been able to fill that space because that space wouldn't have been there in other events because they would have pushed us further up.
Yeah.
You don't get to then be in front of the people at the front of the stage. So security would have held you back anyway.
Right.
Their brains think that because there's empty space, they as the crowd then get to occupy that space.
Right.
However, that space was empty for the security guards to keep blocked off so that the guys performing their thing could then do what they wanted to do, which was obviously throw people over it because they did it several times that night.
Mm-hmm.
They had entrances from the other edges of through this area.
Yep.
Like it was for the performance. So if you want to complain about the security people that were doing that,
oh yeah,
and say that it cheapened or made some crowd lull, well, you're just the Karen.
No, I agree. I agree.
You're the Karen that doesn't realize that just because something is in front of you, it doesn't make it yours.
Yeah. You don't get to have everything. And I mean, I appreciated.
I know that sounds pretty pompous because we're up front, but
No, yeah. I mean, we were up front, and I mean, for up until the midway through.
keep opening that to look at my fucking.
You're fine.
Get away from me.
So we were up front, and we got to go up there during the entrances and occupy that space up until like halfway through the third to last match, right? And that was because the next two matches following, we're going to have performers in that space.
Yeah.
And people were bitching about it. And I was like,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like what we're about to see, you wouldn't get to. The only is the reason we have this space. And we have to protect. This is for our safety. It's for the performer's safety. And we wouldn't.
Like, it's not taped off to make it sell.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, they're breaking past the boundaries. Ooh.
Yeah.
Like,
and they totally.
Aren't you wrestling fans?
Yeah. And they totally let us have, for the most part, free reign of this area until.
Yeah.
Until this point where we're going to get a special show. Like.
And they even told them. They told everybody running up there, hey, for now you can come up here, but later we're going to have to clear everyone out.
Yeah.
I heard them tell everybody up there. I heard them. I'm hoping that someday that asshole that was behind us giving them a hard time hears this, because you were the asshole guy.
Right? Yeah.
Not the security guard.
If I was...
Nobody agreed with you. That's why nobody said, yeah.
If this was a Reddit post, you would totally be the asshole.
Yeah. Even your girlfriend agreed with you until the very end when you were leaving, and she was like, yeah, to get you out of there, stupid.
Yeah.
She was rallying you up to make you leave.
By the way, I had a lot of fun. And then we went... Is there anything else you wanted to say about the event, though, before I talk about... We left and we were fucking starving. Because we hadn't eaten since, like, 1 o'clock... Not even 1, like 11 in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, why didn't we get popcorn or something?
I was too busy. I also know the pacing of the AEW stuff. They don't usually give you much time
in between.
Pretty
quick.
Yeah. So I was like, I had already... I didn't mention that to you. I'm sorry. Because I had been to, both AEW and WWE. I was like, AEW doesn't give you any time. Like, if you need to go pee, you got to do that before the show. If you want something to eat, you got to do that before the show. Unless you're...
I could have thought of and said it myself.
Yeah.
I was just saying it, thinking out loud.
Yeah. But WWE gives you those moments. AEW does not. So unless you just want to miss out on a match.
Yeah, I kind of wish, even though it would have made it, 30 minutes longer, I wish there was an intermission.
At some point, yeah. That would have been
nice. Like 8, 9 matches?
There was... Well, when I looked at the Wikipedia,
12?
I think there was 10.
Okay, I was like, no, wait, there's more.
There could have been more.
A lot.
It was a lot.
And they were long.
Mm-hmm.
Like the dude, Orange Cassidy. I forgot about this real
yeah,
quick.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy is ridiculous.
I love Orange Cassidy.
The most ridiculous.
So much.
That was the most ridiculous series of events I've ever seen.
I mean, the whole premise to me was so good when he was like, open challenge for the...
Anybody that wants to
anyone wants to take this title. And they're like, yeah, so 20 people apparently want to challenge you. And he's like, cool, I'll fight them all.
At the same time.
Yeah. I was like, yes.
And they did.
Yep.
And they did. Yeah, I loved that. That one was pretty fun too. The Luchadors were really cool to watch on that.
The Lucha Bros. You had Lucha Bros and Commander. And Lucha Bros came out with their AAA titles. That was exciting. Those guys are really good. I think they're probably the best luchador duo in the world, I would say.
Yeah, it was pretty fun to watch those guys.
And I know you have a little bit of space in your heart for the luchador life, so I was excited that they got to be there, because I was like, I really hope Adrian gets to see these guys. Would have been cooler if it was a regular match instead of a battle royale, I feel like. But nonetheless, they were there. But yeah, so we left and we were starving. And we were walking up and down the strip. Not up and down the strip. We were walking up the strip north. And we couldn't figure out where we wanted to eat.
We ran into locked doors.
We ran into a lot of
restaurants were already closed.
Yeah, because it was already late.
For some reason at 9. Or no, it was 10:30.
One of them closed. Yeah. Well, no. What time was it there?
I don't remember it. Anyway, the point
Yeah.
is they were closed, and the next thing we found was this kind of like ring of restaurants.
Yeah. It was a little tower of
And
restaurants,
yeah,
and we went up to
there's
the
a
top.
Japanese place, and I'm pretty picky, and at this point, I was like, nah, I'm not gonna try to find through this a fish thing that I can eat, which was yeah. So Jack turns and says, "Hey, look at this steak place."
There's a steak place. STK. I was like, I've heard it's good. Let's try it.
Yep.
We did not look like we belonged in there. We're in t-shirts.
Absolutely not.
We're in t-shirts. Everyone
I
else
was in
is
my
like,
Hawaiian shirt.
yeah, you were in a Hawaiian shirt. I was in a t-shirt. Everyone else is in like, they're at least in
Suits
sports
and
coats.
dresses.
Yeah. If they're not in a full suit, they're at least wearing a sports coat with their jeans. Whereas we were not wearing any of that. It felt like a nightclub.
It was a DJ.
There was a DJ.
They played "It's Raining Men" halfway through our meal.
That was hilarious. I loved that. I appreciated that. I appreciated the DJ's playlist. I enjoyed most of the songs we heard.
Yeah, no, the time was fine. It's just we shouldn't have been.
We shouldn't have been in that restaurant. No. And then we paid $300 for that meal. Honestly, though, most of the time, because very few times have I had fancy meals like that, and most of the time I'm like, nah.
No, that one was really good.
That one was really good. I appreciated that. That steak was honestly really good. One of the best steaks I've had in a restaurant. Don't know why they're charging $80 for it, but
Yeah, no, it was enjoyable for sure. Other than that, man, what can you say about Vegas aside from it's different having only been there one time before and
Right.
been obliterated drunk the whole time to not even caring about, trying to go drink
oh yeah.
and just kind of chilling.
I think I
got
had
to
a
go
total of
to
like 4 drinks.
Hash House too.
The hash house
Hash
was
House
fun.
was okay. It was pretty good. Yeah.
We also explored a little bit. We went to a side of Fremont Street, which if you don't know what Fremont Street, that's the downtown area of Las Vegas where the Golden Nugget and the D are and Circa. And they have like the light show ceiling. Which I'm sure if you've seen it in movies, if you haven't seen it in real life, I'm sure. But so we went to the end of it. I think they called it Fremont East.
I
And
don't recall, but
it got
it's just they have the container park there.
yeah, the container park there. It got kind of, into an area that I liked. It felt like, like East 6th Street, I felt like. And I enjoyed it. And I think just getting to explore that was really cool. That container park was really good, really cool, I thought. They kind of do some artsy stuff and have some local restaurants in there.
Yeah, that restaurant was pretty good, but their idea of spicy was just not it.
Yeah.
And the waitress was terrible.
That I know. Yeah, she seemed like she was like
service experience was one of the worst I've dealt with in a long time.
She had to take like a 10-minute break in between each table that she talked to. It seemed like, because she would literally I don't know if you noticed, she would take an order, she would go inside, we wouldn't see her forever, then she'd come back.
It's like she was cooking it.
Yeah, then she'd come back and drop off the drinks or whatever, and then go to the next table, and then she'd go inside.
No, she would disappear and then come back and take the drink order for the next table.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah, you're right. She'd come get the drink order. 10 minutes.
She didn't bring shit out, did she?
Drinks. Then come back. Then go back inside.
Yeah.
Then 10 minutes, come to the next table, drinks.
Yeah.
Then go back inside. Then bring the drinks. Then go back inside. Then come to the next table, take their drink order. Then go back inside.
Mm-hmm.
Then another. Yeah, it's like each depot.
It was ridiculous. And I was like, what are you doing? You got to take 3 orders. I mean, I understand if you don't go get that shit, that's fine. But that's usually what you do as a server, right? You kind of check on all your tables real quick. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand you don't want to overdo your brain. You don't want to be like.
But it's not even just that. I understand also busy. Also, I have back problems that you can't visibly see. My walk doesn't even always tell. She could have been having the most miserable day.
That's true.
That's
true.
fine. But there's difference between like it. She made it our problem at that
Right,
point.
she did.
She was like, "What do you want?"
Yeah.
They're like, "Is this dicks? Like,
Right.
what's going on here?" Like that's how it felt. It's just like, dude, don't be a dick to us just because you're having a bad day and you're having to serve. You could have called in. You could, be doing other things. If you're starting off as the dick, it's one thing if I start off as the dick as the customer. If I
Right.
start off as the dick as the customer, sure, I get it.
Yeah. Be an
But
asshole to
it's
me.
you and me. We're smiling.
Right.
Hi, how you guys? She's like, hey, how you guys doing? We're like, oh, hi.
We're always
She's
so
like,
nice to our servers. Like,
we try.
I try to be. Like,
We've both been there.
yeah.
But yeah, she was rude on top of it. So it's like But yeah, more importantly, the spicy.
The spicy.
If
yeah.
she hadn't been so rude, and that's why I even bring it up. If she hadn't been such a dick, I would have asked if they had anything. But that was like maybe some paprika
Yeah.
seasoning in there.
There was.
You tried it, right?
Yeah, I took a bite of it. I thought, yeah, it wasn't very spicy. I think I wouldn't hand it to my mom because my mom can barely handle black pepper. But
I mean, it was and again, it was fine. I'm not even saying it was bad, but
Yeah.
not spicy.
no, yeah, definitely not by our standards. I mean, we have friends who might have been like, "Oh my god."
Actually, the roll was quite good on it. The
I
chicken
didn't
was
try
good.
it,
It was
yeah.
actually kind of sweet.
Yeah.
I really, if I could have taken that and just added some really good hearty like salt layer to it to bring out some of that other seasoning that was in there, and then some more spice, to me that would have
Yeah.
been perfect. Maybe even squeeze the lime on it instead of the salt to do the same effect.
I get that. Yeah, but I think Container World was pretty dope.
Really cool. They had a performance area that was very interesting.
It was cool. Honestly, my favorite thing about that was like you could tell it was like kind of an open mic feel. But like these people, for one, it was nothing like an open mic I've ever been to. You got to see some cultural things like some Japanese drumming, like and then that hip hop girl brought her backup dancers too.
Yeah,
Like that was cool.
she was doing good.
And she did a great job. Yeah. Usually when I go to an open mic night, it's just dudes in their acoustic guitars. So it was cool to see that. It was like an open mic situation, I felt like. But also
I thought it was a talent show.
maybe it was a talent show. I'm not sure. I thought it was open mic.
I didn't see any signs, but that's just the vibe that I got out of it. It felt because like I tried, I wasn't staring at anybody, but they all kind of looked like they were around the same age and younger.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe this is like a high school talent show, and they just get to do it out here.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe. You might be right. But either way, it was cool. I really appreciated it. Pretty sure they were playing Beautiful People in the Japanese
on
percussion.
the Japanese drums.
That was pretty cool.
But overall, a good, enjoyable time in there. I highly recommend it, especially because you get to see the giant praying mantis that has flames shooting out of it at night.
That thing scared the fuck out of me when we'd had our back turned to it and it went off as loud as it could because it's never it's not consistent on its levels of heat and loudness. And it decided to do everything at level 10 when we were just standing there.
I'm pretty
not
sure
facing...
it's a person with like a switch or something that's doing it.
Oh, probably, yeah. You think he was like, "Oh, we're gonna get those guys."
Yeah, he's like, everyone's turned around. Do it
now.
Open her up, or whatever they say to each other because it's a gas valve doing it,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. Really, really cool art piece that's there.
It is really cool. I think that's one of the. I'm gonna make sure the next time we go to Vegas, or I go to Vegas, or you go to Vegas, that's on the trip. Yes, I said I will plan your trip.
You're gonna send me to Vegas now?
Yeah, I'm gonna get you a Motel 6. You got to pay for your Ubers.
And you gotta try to break your way into the AEW fandom event.
Yep.
Not the AEW event? Nah, we got tickets for that.
tickets for that.
We need you to break into this one. Yes, sir.
Sure.
Yeah, it's hopefully we get to go there to watch the next AEW.
Dude,
That'd be cool.
I'd be down. I mean, as far as I know, they are talking about, so Double or Nothing's always in Vegas. There's discussion of them moving it out of Vegas because apparently, I don't know, fans don't like the T-Mobile Center. I thought it was fine. I mean, I don't know. I can't think of I guess there's a lot of people who go to stadiums and arenas. I guess it's an arena. I said center, arena. People go to these things and they have opinions on them. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe I just don't go to them enough to care. I'm here for the event. I could care less what the venue looks like.
I mean, for as many people that were there, we got in pretty quick.
Yeah.
As doors open to entry time goes, and I've gone to a handful of events. The most recent being that WWE event in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will say this.
Granted, most of my events have been in San Antonio area,
Yeah.
so I'll just say that. But go ahead.
I will say this. Sorry to interrupt you. The line situation at WWE was very confusing.
Yeah, it was worse.
It was worse,
actually, at the San Antonio stuff. So if that's if T-Mobile's the bad, then we've been dealing with pathetic.
right? So I don't know, but I didn't mind it. Like I said,
Yeah.
I also don't go to enough stadiums to have much of an opinion. I mean, also I feel like within a wrestling event, it's like they open the doors, you go look and see if you want to buy merch or food, and then you go to your chairs. I don't understand what the problem is. Maybe there's a parking issue that we don't know about because we took Ubers.
Oh, maybe. I mean, it could also be just that Vegas is pricey.
Vegas is
People
pricey. I get that.
Don't want to be doing Vegas prices to keep going to AEW, which is the not pricey WWE.
No, you're right. I mean, we paid the exact same price, ticket-wise.
So,
and this time we were front row. So it's
big difference.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be your convenience for your events shouldn't hurt your fans,
No.
It's more than a mutual relationship. The fans do help pay you. You got to do like a 60-40 thing sometimes.
Right.
And that's one of them. So I want to take this time to, of course, always try to plug somebody. I want to plug AudreyAdamsArt.com.
Yes.
Link will be in the podcast, the YouTube links on the bottom of the episode. Of course, our friend Jeremy Calley, Calley, Facebook will be your guitar smith if you allow him to be. Making some beautiful work. #TrailerMade Guitars. There's also this guy named Kuru Zombie that streams on Twitch sometimes. He's pretty awesome and hilarious. You should check him out. I don't know. Jackson'sLostCause.com.
Make sure you check out our Twitch and YouTube streams Thursday night at 8:30 Central. We are currently playing Grounded and
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but a video game. So if you have any nostalgia in you for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, you'll love Grounded, even if you don't love us.
We dropped a new sketch this week. Please, if you haven't already watched it, go check it out, like it, comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can see the live version of our podcast and sketches. We are planning on adding more sketches to our schedule in the next upcoming weeks and months. Make sure you're paying attention and watching for that. Follow us on Instagram.
Love you guys.
Love you.